I'm Cora Abraham. I'm the founder of Team Arete. It's one of the big teams that comprise, the collaboration of Stephanie Richardson's downline. She is my grandma upline. So for those of you, we all our genealogy all goes back to the rock stars. So that's where we begin. And anyway, I am going to be talking to you guys tonight about building volume and income and not necessarily being focused on rank. So I'm going to talk about the comp plan a little bit. And before I get started with that, I want you to understand that it can seem overwhelming at first. And if you are a new coach especially, you're probably just now kind of getting to where you understand cycling and $18 and $14 and all that stuff. It's probably still just like blowing some of your minds. So I just want you to know that that's natural, that's normal. It might take you hearing it like 100 different times before you really get it, and that's okay. The thing is, you don't have to know it perfectly to be able to rock it. So I'm hoping that you will just have some takeaways here that you can use, and if you need to listen to the recording again or hear it from someone else or whatever, there's some great resources out there. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and share my screen so you can see my slides. Okay, let's hope this works for me for a minute. Oh, shoot. Okay, here we go. I'm going to try. Oh, yay. Okay, can you guys see my slides? Just nod your head. Yes, sir. Hopefully you can. Okay, fabulous. Okay, so to get started a little bit, it's a little bit slow here. Move this out of the way so I can see it. Okay, so income is not necessarily more important than rank or purpose or your team culture or the various goals that you have. I want to say that up front. It is my priority in this business. It's why I got into this business, but we are all very different people driven by different things. And so I just want you to know that this is not, the be all end all, the right way to do it necessarily. You have to ask yourself the question, what you value, what matters to you, what your priorities are at the end of the day, and that's what you need to honor. So I'm going to teach you how I build for income. So if that is your priority, then hopefully this helps you a lot, because I think there are quite a few of us who share that goal. So Stephanie Richardson is the reason when I started coaching. I was a lawyer and wanted to stay home with my son who was on the way. My first kid, I'm pregnant right now with my third. So I've been pregnant or with a newborn my entire Beachbody career. I've been a coach for 4.5 years. So my coach, I didn't even know prior to becoming a coach. I knew her husband in grad school, and she went to school to Baylor with Stephanie Richardson. And I also went to grad school at Baylor. So I heard, I just didn't know if it was a legit business or anything like that. And she told me, my upline told me about Stephanie Richardson, who was making good money and all of that. And then I watched a call that Stephanie did. And she was just a very down-to-earth, real person, and she didn't intimidate me in a way that I was like, oh, there's no way I could do what she does. She was just very real and very kind and charismatic and talented for sure, but I didn't feel like that was something that was unattainable necessarily. And I saw that she made real money, and I thought if she could do that, then I also could do that. So that's, she just let me know that it was possible. But as I said, my priority has always been to build for income. It was to stay home with my kids, to pay off law school loans or debt. If you know anything about law school, you know that it takes about 6 figures or more of debt to attend. We wanted to save for college for our children, future children, to pay off the debt that we had, to be able to tithe and support causes that mattered to us. That was really important. But it's so easy in this business to get super overwhelmed by the shiny things. Elite, premier, rank. If you listen to the National Wake Up Call, which I'm hoping you all do, I'm assuming you all do, if you are alive on Thursdays on Facebook, on social, all you hear, it's probably a little overwhelming for you. You hear about this person who ranked advanced, who signed up months after you and who's flying past you, or this person who's hit elite or premier or 15 star in 2 years or whatever. and believe me, I played the comparison game too for a while, so I'm not immune to that. But my, as I said, my priority was income. And sometimes you have to take a back seat when it comes to some of the rank advancements and things like that, if you choose to build your business this way. So, and it's hard. It's hard. I just hope this call equips you in a way to be able to handle that, to be able to handle the shout outs that other people receive who signed up later and grow a lot faster. And you might need to sacrifice if you choose to build for income. For volume, you may need to sacrifice the recognition or the shout outs, the stage at Summit. It can hurt. It can sting a little bit on Thursdays, for sure. And it can sting not to have your name ever on the National Wake Up Call or whatever. So that's something that you have to decide if it's important to you or not. Because if it is, then go for it. And let me just say this too. There are sometimes, it is possible to build for 15-star and for income for some people. It's not for all of us. So you just have to figure it out the way your business is set up. Or 10-star or 5-star or whatever your goal is. I just say 15. I don't want to take anything away from anybody who has earned that. It's hard work and it's an incredible accomplishment, and I'm in complete awe of that. It's just not the way I built my business to this point. So if I ever do reach 15-star, it will happen organically, and I will tell you more about that. But like I said, my goal is to teach you to build for income. I'm going to try to prepare you, give you some wisdom that'll help you that I learned later on. I wish I'd learned earlier. But it'll help you reach your income goals quicker. And that might mean not getting shout outs, like I said, on Thursdays, because I know some of you, like me, have income as a number one priority, and you'll be equipped you'll be equipped every week when you see those rank advancements and all of that, because you know your income is growing. And at the end of the day, that's really what is going to be mattering more to you. It's the weight of the debt off your chest for yourself and for your family. But don't apologize for the way you choose to build. If you choose to build for rank, go for it. If you choose to be top 10, 15-star, go for it. By all means, go for it. I'm just telling you the way I do it. So take it or leave it. So the comp plan. Basically, rank matters to me only for the team bonus cap. If you don't know, you max out at $250 for Team Cycle bonus at an Emerald. You max out at $1,000. I'll get more into this in the next slide. It's $1,000 for Ruby, $2,000 for Diamond, and so on and so forth. For every star after that, you advance $1,000, but it caps at $12,000. That's the most you can make. So even a 15-star, if you're maxing out your Team Cycle bonus, you can only make it's not really only, but you can only make $12,000 a week. So that's where you cap out. So my goal is to rank advance and not necessarily worry about that, but build for volume until I get close to the cap, and then I want to increase my rank so I can make more money, so I'm not stuck. So just a little bit about me. I'm SC10 is my non-negotiable, but I'm somewhere between 10 and 25 most of the time, every single month. So I would not say I'm a huge retailer. There are people who get hundreds of Success Club points a month. In the beginning, I was a very big retailer, like in my first year and a half or so in the business, maybe even 2 years, probably a year and a half. I was a really big retailer, but not in the last at least 2.5 years or so. I get 10 to 25. I'm not one of those huge Success Club point people. And I'm not a crazy recruiter. I recruit 4 to, hold on, I need to mute this line. Okay. I recruit between 4 and 10 coaches a month. And 10, if I hit 10, that's a really good month for me. So I don't recruit a ton. So it's possible to do really well without having huge numbers, recruiting a ton of people, or having huge Success Club numbers. It's totally possible. I am blessed to be making I'm telling you this because some of the people on our board wanted me to tell you because they thought it would be helpful for you to know. It's really uncomfortable to talk about money. I only talk about this and because I want you to know that this is how I built. And I didn't tell you guys this, but my coach basically quit once I hit Diamond. So I didn't have anybody to go to or to receive training from or anything like that. We didn't have the training we did in the back office back then. I basically was on my own as a diamond and had to build by myself to the year that I had to go off completely on my own. I went from diamond to 5-star elite. So that was a big year. That was my second year in the business. And then I went to 8-star the next year. And then the following year, I was still 8-star. So I did not rank advance the entire, like all of last year. Did not rank advance. I finished 2015 at 8-star. I finished 2016 at 8-star. I'm non-star qualifying now, but I was there. And I was still adding coaches, and even diamonds, that they just weren't in my first business center. So what I wanted to say about that is that I'm really blessed by this business and this opportunity to be making nearly $8,000 a week now, 4.5 years in. And I've just been focused on building depth. And the big numbers for me come from Team Cycle bonus. And that bonus, that's where rank truly matters, because that's where the cap is. And there's a direct correlation between the Team Cycle bonus and your volume, your income. So that's all to say that I want you to know I sign up coaches who will flop, who are given great training, great mentorship. I believe in them 100%, and they flop. Stephanie Richardson, same thing. Julie Schultes, or that's not her last name anymore, Strother, same thing. Like Amber Ailey, all of us. Janelle Summers, Lindsay Matway, Melanie Mitchell, every single coach, no matter how great the training is, no matter how wonderful the mentorship is, every single one of us signs people up who will flop. That's just the way it is. It's just a fact. So go ahead and come to terms with that. That's going to happen. We all do that. We have complete belief that we pour into them and they still just flop sometimes. And that's just the way it is. So it's incredibly hard. If you haven't figured this out yet, you will, to control rank. Really, really hard. We will all sign coaches who never do anything. You make your best guess when you place, but you just don't know. So it's really hard. So I focus on working with the willing and not just at a personally sponsored coach level. That's what PS is, if you see that in my slides, personally sponsored coach level. So I average in commissions a week in my first business center between $90 and $300. So not that much. A lot of that is residual, Shakeology or whatever. And then of course I have more, most of mine is in my second business center or my husband or whatever. Excuse me, but I'm not a huge, the majority of my income is not from commissions. So the rest of it, you can do the math of the almost 8,000 a week, is Team Cycle bonus and matching bonus. So you want to create a culture that is where everybody's included and that's easily duplicable for your team. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. Now, the matching bonus is super exciting. That's probably my favorite part of Thursdays when I check my commissions and all of that. When you're a personally sponsored coach who is an Emerald or higher, so get to Emerald. If you're not an Emerald yet and you're not yet taking advantage of Team Cycle bonus, get there ASAP. Get there quickly. Sign up a spouse, a friend, whatever. Get to Emerald so you can start cycling and taking advantage of carryover volume. So once you're an Emerald or higher, you get a Team Cycle bonus every time you cycle. So I'm not going to get into the cycling. 200 on the strong leg versus 100 on the weak leg. You cycle one time as an Emerald to get $14 per cycle. As a diamond, $18 per cycle. So you want to get there as quickly as you can. But when you do that, when your personally sponsored coach does that, when they cycle, you either get, and you're Ruby or higher, so you have to be Ruby or higher, then you get either 5 or 10% of their income as a matching bonus. So let's just say somebody cycles one time. So Shakeology, for instance, they get $14 when they cycle, when you're personally sponsored coaches. Well, you get $1.40. You get 10% of that when you cycle, and or when they cycle, as a matching bonus rather. If you're helping people, that just shows that you're helping people build past their residual income through their team bonus. And why this is cool is, I mean, we hear $1.40 and we're like, ooh, $1.40. What am I going to do with all that money? Or I'm not going to spend it all at once, my $1.40 or $2.80 or whatever. But if you think about that in terms of like 5 years down the road, you can earn $1,200 a week. What if that coach who you got the $1.40 this week from, what if she's in it next year and the following year and the following year? And let's say she's a 15-star 5 years from now and she's maxing out her first business center. You will make in matching bonus from her, from that one coach who blows it up, and you never know who that coach is going to be necessarily, but you will make $1,200 a week from that one coach. That adds up really quickly. If you have several coaches who just commit to being in it one more year, and then the next year, and then the next year, and just being in it for a year, I mean, that happens. It just grows and grows and grows. So it ends up being a pretty large portion of your pay, right? Pretty cool. So celebrate those $40s when you see it. Every one of those coaches, I'm going to get into this too, but every one of those coaches is in your top 20% and decides to be there in 1 year from now, and then in a year from then, and then a year from then, and then a year from then. Like I said, that cycle will become thousands of dollars in the matching bonuses that you earn. So you want to duplicate all of the habits that you teach and invite like crazy first and foremost. Because you cannot control rank, but you always want to continue to grow. So that's phase one. A lot of us talk about that as phase one. That's your power of threes, your personal customers, your personal challenge groups, your personal coaches that you continue to sponsor. You still want to do that. So don't ever stop doing that. That's got to be your priority first and foremost. If you only have an hour a day, that's where it needs to be spent. So make sure you know that first. And any additional time will go into what I'm about to talk about. So you might need to sacrifice, like I said, elite, premier, whatever, some sort of rank goal that you have for certain years. Maybe not every year, but there's probably going to be a year where you're going to have to make a tough decision. You are going to have to possibly sacrifice that. So know yourself and know what matters to you and know what your priorities are, and be okay with that if that's what you have to do. But a little bit more, I talked about this earlier for real briefly, but I'm going to get back to it. As an Emerald, you can max out, you do max out at $250 a week for Team Cycle bonus. That's your cap. So if you are already making that in Team Cycle, then you need to advance rank to at least a Ruby so you can get up to $1,000 a week. So anybody who's maxing out at their cap needs to think about how to advance in rank. That's when rank matters. So at a Ruby level, you max out at 1,000, Diamond 2,000, 5-star 7,000. And so I'm maxing out at 5-star. I couldn't be a 5-star, or I would be capped at my income, and I don't want to do that. So I'd have to continue to build. Full disclosure, 10 stars, $12,000 cap, and that's as much as you're going to get. You don't go up after that. So it increases $1,000 for every star until you get to 15, or until you get to 10 rather, and it does not keep increasing after that. But this is a thing that I want you to hear right now, so pay attention. So there's a huge misconception, and I have the same misconception. Because I saw the shiny things, the glitter. I saw the people advancing and being honored on stage and having the huge shout outs and everything on Thursdays and on the national wake up calls. So I assumed in my head that higher ranked coaches make more money because that's the shiny stuff we see. That's not the case. I know 10 stars who make $300 a week, $400 a week. I know 1 stars personally who make $3,000 a week. They're maxing out at $3,000 a week. So don't be confused when you hear like, oh, 15 star, oh, she must be banking or whatever. Not necessarily, not if she has built a shell organization, or he. I usually say she just because we have so many female coaches, but there are males. But don't be confused. That's not necessarily the case. Certainly there are some who do make really good money, but not all of them. Now I'm going to talk to you about just building for rank and not building for income. So did the math here. So 15-star Diamond in a skeleton organization. So not a lot of depth, no builders. Okay. So we're talking about mostly discount coaches. And this is somebody who's working just to rank advance and is not concerned necessarily with people who are going to build the business. And they don't duplicate themselves. They're just teaching people sign up for, to get the discount, sign up to get Shakeology, whatever, at a discounted rate. So that would be just an organization full of discount coaches, right? So, for a Diamond, you have 4 and 4 on each side. 2 of those, 1 on each side, has to be an Emerald. So that's 12 coaches, right? 12 coaches per Diamond. If you have 15 of those, do the math, then whatever, I think I wrote it down here. I don't have the number in front of me, but I figured that out, whatever that was. But you need 30 coaches active coaches to be a 15-star diamond. So then I added 15 more coaches to that. Let's say they're all, like, none of them are really producing. They're all doing the bare minimum. That means they're all on Shakeology or whatever. And that's if we're lucky, right? Because some of them will just get like a refresh or something and have exactly 52, whatever it is. But what happens if they all are drinking Shakeology in your shell organization? Bare minimum, they produce 12,150 volume points. If you divide that by 300, I divided that by 300 because you have to have 300 to cycle. You have to have 200 on the strong leg, 100 on the weak leg. So the quick math is just to do the whole number and then divide by 300. So that's 40 cycles over a month. That doesn't really mean anything to most of you guys. And you're like, okay, you lost me. I don't know where you're going with this. No worries. The bottom line is that they could potentially make only $729 a month, not a week, a month in Team Cycle Bonus. What? Like, that was like totally pulling back the curtains, Wizard of Oz exposed for me. Like, 15-star, you think they're just making all this money. But it's possible. I mean, most of them don't, I'm sure, make that small of an amount. But it's possible that they would only make $729 a month. So don't build for rank and go for the shiny things all the time, because it's not worth it if you can't even pay your mortgage, whatever you need to do with this business. So what I do is, and I'm going to talk a little bit about with whom I work. I certainly, with my personally sponsored coaches, I mentor them. I try to get them started right. I teach them what I do. I teach them how to duplicate what I do. But that first level, those PS coaches only impact your rank. So, well, I mean, they impact volume to an extent too, if they're duplicating and all of that, but mainly your rank, right? So what about that incredible star diamond coach who's 10 levels down from you, or 5 levels down from you, or that retailer who's already at SC20, at SC30, who is, 5 levels down, 10 levels down, 3 levels down even, whatever. What about that person? Like, our team bonus, like, understand this, is paid at unlimited levels. Unlimited levels. So a coach's coach 100 times, 100 levels down from you might be a complete, if I could talk, a complete rock star. That her volume is going to contribute to one of your legs, either your weak leg or strong leg. That rock star is going to contribute. So it doesn't matter how far down she is. You need to be working with her because she is a rock star and she could probably use your help, or would love to hear a shout out. I mean, how cool would it be? I think all of us would be pretty blown away if, like, our, great grandma, or I always refer to it as like familial terms because it makes sense to people. But if your like great grandmother coach reached out to you and was like, hey, you're doing awesome work. I just wanted to know I see you and I value you and you're a rock star and whatever, just give them a little encouragement. Like, that would be amazing. Or maybe Stephanie has done that too, or Julie, or whomever your upline, star diamond, 10-star diamond, whatever upline is. If they reached out to you and just gave you like a kudos, and that's pretty special, right? It would probably light you up a little bit. So we want to work with those people. We want to dig deep and work with those people. And you have limited time. I know you do. I have limited time. Most of you have full-time jobs aside from Beachbody, or you are a stay-at-home mom with littles. I have a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old and another one on the way, and they consume my whole life. Like, if they're awake and they need me full-time, my attention, or someone's probably going to be thrown off of something and die, or I don't know, who knows. But it's not a good situation. So I'm not going to find that out. So we just don't have a whole lot of time. So some people you sponsor, as I said earlier, are not matching your effort. You might love them as people. I'm sure you do, in fact, but they're not matching your effort. And a coach way down in your downline who's hitting SC20 or SC50 or whatever, like, spend time with that person, with the coach you sponsored, saying, either the coach you sponsor saying, I wish I could do that. I wish I could hit diamond. I wish I could, sell the challenge pack or whatever, but isn't actually doing the work, doesn't send invites, doesn't do the work, or the person who's doing the work, who's not a PS coach. You want to drag the PS coach along, who's just always been wishing, oh, I'd like to do that. I wish I could do that. Or the person who's actually doing. You spend your valuable time with the person who's acting, who's doing. So there's a natural law called the Pareto principle that John Maxwell teaches. And it's basically about your top 20%. So as I said, it's a natural law. 20% of your team produces 80% of the results. So you need to focus on giving your love and your attention to that top 20%. If someone says, I wish, I want, I hope, and they don't care, or they're not acting, you need to bless and release that person. You can still love them, you can still help them when they come to you, whatever, but do not drag them along. Do not give them your time and your energy and your effort. Give that to the people who are proving it to you, who are actually doing the work. We want to work with the willing. The quicker you learn that, the better off you will be. And I want you to make sure that you ask upline permission first, so you don't step on any toes. You don't want to go behind somebody's back. And there's some people who are, how shall I say this, a little bit controlling, or have a personality that's a little bit controlling. You want to make sure that you don't step on any toes, especially in your downline. You don't want to upset the balance. So go to the upline and just say, hey, I saw like you're sponsoring some really great coaches. I saw that you sponsored Katie and she's amazing. Like, do you see what she's doing? So it's just incredible. I was wondering if you would mind if I just reached out to her for maybe a week and had a phone call with her to see how I can serve her, to see if I can, give her a little guidance, whatever. And then generally that's all you need to do, but you just want to find those sparks and be the gasoline that pours on that fire. So if the upline has an issue with it, you might just say, you know what, I've heard the same X, Y, and Z over and over and over from my sponsor, and it took hearing it from someone else before it really sunk in, just because I hear the same people all the time. And sometimes you just need to hear it from a different person, a different perspective. So generally the upline's okay if you do that, but don't try to go around somebody necessarily. But you want to build levels and levels and levels and levels of coaches below you. So, like I said before, when somebody when somebody recognizes your hard work, it totally lights you up. So you want to reach out to them, see if you can maybe find the holes in their business and just say, I see what you're doing, like you're blowing it up. I would love to help you figure out, maybe get on the phone this week and figure out how I can serve you or what I can do to help you where you might feel like you're struggling or whatever. So just reach out to those people and offer them a little bit more guidance. Okay, I'm going to try to share my back office again. I'm going to show you a report that I run. But it took me, I didn't mention this, it took me a year to go from diamond to 1 star. That's how long it took. No kidding. It took me a year. So, but I was really high paid. So I was one of the highest paid diamonds at that time. But so basically I'm just telling you that because that's not rank is not what defines success to me. There are people who go 15 star in 2 years or less than that. And you might look at me and say, that's really not very impressive that you're only an 8 star or 9 star qualifying or whatever. But I want you to know that we have 60 or so lifetime diamonds in my downline, which is huge. And I see team bonus is how successful my leadership is. Rank advancing without the volume is just not helpful. It's a shell organization and you're falling in and out of rank all the time. And you're ultimately miserable. So hold on, I'll show you the weekly report that I run. My computer froze. This is